think he's a weirdo.
He's a weirdo. Okay.
Okay. I talk loud anyways.
That's true, you do.
No problem. Did we decide on a name for this thing?
I mean, I think it's no, comma, you.
No. You? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. It is currently 6:48 p.m. on February the 2nd.
Yes.
This is the first episode of the soon-to-be miraculous No You podcast.
Did you just say it right? No, you.
Is it emphasis on the no or emphasis on the you?
I think depending on the context. No, you.
What context?
Depending on the context that you're using it in.
I think it's always the same context.
I don't know about that.
Maybe. Okay. It's 6:48 p.m. on February the 2nd, and this is the first episode of the soon-to-be miraculous No You podcast with Aaron and Ethan, also known as AKA E Squared. Check us out on Twitch.
Follow our stream on Twitch.
Follow our stream on Twitch. Sorry, I'll get distracted with our cat. Well, my cat.
He's our cat.
We're not on that level yet.
I love him.
Funny enough, to this day, we have been dating 7 months.
Truly.
I
resent that you don't think Poe is the love of my life and that I love him as much as you do.
I thought I was the love of your life.
Well, that, but also, like...
Is it because I'm not as hairy as Poe?
I count him as... Well, I refer to him as, like, my boyfriend's cat, but also, like, my cat sometimes.
Okay.
It's a weird relationship
That's
that
fair.
Poe and I have.
I mean, I have a mostly hate-hate relationship with my cat. I like him. He's okay.
Anyway.
So, 7 months to today.
Yeah.
And we met on Tinder.
Yeah, we did.
Correct?
Correct.
No.
Check.
You.
No. You.
Yeah, we met in the great world of Tinder, that virtual
probably in like
cesspool.
Yeah. In June, most likely.
Yeah, I think
not
it was
most
June.
Likely. It was like June.
Because it was before my birthday, which is in June.
Yeah. I was like, do you want to give all that info away?
Not yet. Maybe by episode 10.
Maybe.
I'll give my birthday. Also, Poe's going to sleep. So that's a good sign for this podcast.
For the continuation of this podcast. Yeah, so June, and then didn't start dating until July.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had like a month of figuring out our emotions.
Yes.
I didn't really need to figure out my emotions.
I had one emotion.
Yeah? What's that?
I don't know. I didn't really have one emotion. I had several emotions as well.
Here's the thing.
Well, I think, my main emotion was, why am I on Tinder?
Mine also. But then once I met you, well, connected with you, I would say, on Tinder.
And then you never looked back?
I would say, yeah. I think that, like, once I connected with you and we were, like, talking, I was into it and I was really excited because I've never, like, experienced that connection, like, over the internet, I would say. Right. Like, it was, like, a very much like I had known you for a long amount of time and it was on the internet, which is silly. Yeah. It's a silly thing. But,
I would agree for the most part, but I've experienced that thing online, and, like, I was in middle school chat rooms.
No, that's valid.
And I mean, like, video game chat rooms where I would never see the girl anyway,
right.
if she even was a girl.
Right. I don't have that experience, but I just, like, I've never felt that connection. It's not true, but I mean, like, that's a very strong connection to feel over the internet, and I had that connection, and I was like, oh, I want to see this person IRL.
Yeah, that stands for in real life.
People know that.
For people born yesterday.
I abbreviate everything, honestly.
Literally everything.
It's stupid.
It won't surprise me if she starts abbreviating this podcast NY. N? Y?
Yeah, so dating, connection, that was real. Yeah. And then, like, shortly after we matched, connected, whatever, I would say... It was, like, a weird whirlwind of events. Like, there was a lot of, like, things going on in my life that I was, like, crowded during that time. Like, my sister was getting married, and I was, like, super busy, like, going out of town and getting ready to, like, work and all this stuff. And I was like, I have this one day to meet you, and, like, you're probably not going to want to meet. And you're like, let's do it.
But I did it.
But you did it.
Let's do it.
So that's weird, but good. It was a weird
start. And we
start.
met at a stereotypical first date coffee shop.
Yeah.
Where we found... What are like letters in the desk thing?
Yeah, like the little. It's like a little
people
notebook.
Would write notes and then stash them in a desk.
Mm-hmm. It was my favorite seat.
Yeah, but unfortunately, which it was taken.
Yeah.
And then you wanted to yell at the people.
I didn't want to yell at them.
But I was like, no, Aaron, we're not gonna yell at the people and force them out. They were here first.
I don't think that you had that.
I don't care if it has your name on it, Aaron.
Authority. I don't know. At that time, you were not that forward with me at the time. Now you are, but then you were just like, I'm taking all this in.
I thought I was pretty forward when I bought that peanut butter ball, though.
That's true.
Yeah. You were like a protein powerhouse.
Yeah, it was a protein powerhouse of emotion.
Yeah. I just really liked how, before we even had a conversation, before we even did anything, really, you offered to pay for my coffee.
I still don't think that's weird. I don't know why you think that's weird.
I mean, it's not... I mean, most people probably say, oh, the girl can't pay for stuff. No, that's fine. That's not why it's weird. It's weird because we had never met before.
I think those were the first words I might have said to you, like, in real life, but I was just like... I was in front of you in line, and I was like, oh, do you want me to grab this? And you were like, no, it's okay. I don't know. I don't
know. I thought it was a little... Like, it was funny. It was funny.
I mean, it's very me. It's very, bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still don't think it's weird.
I'm sure you would offer Donald Trump money if
you... I don't want to get political in the first podcast.
Getting political with Aaron and Ethan. But unfortunately, that coffee shop has since flooded and been destroyed.
Yeah.
In a harrowing incident.
Yeah. But we've revisited that area. Both, like, recently and a little... Yeah. And it's still a nice spot.
It's coming back, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll just get there.
If I remember right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that happened, first date. It was just like a weird whirlwind. Like, that's the best way I can describe it, to, like, when I describe the beginning of our relationship too. Mm-hmm. Like, my friends and family, like, it was just weird. It was bizarre, like, series of events, and we've never, like, since connecting, I think that's matching, whatever, I don't care. It's just been kind of, that's it, you know, like, there hasn't been any.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, slightly smooth sailing since then. Family's a little crazy.
My family's always crazy.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, I guess it was kind of weird at first because like you mentioned earlier, I had never really, like, connected or matched with someone online like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, that was the first...
Except for all your chat room babes.
Except for all my chat room babes circa 2003, 2004. If you played Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos during that time, or were just on any AIM chat room whatsoever, Tweakin' Nips. That was me.
Is that real?
Yeah, that was my. I think that was my screen name. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Tweakin' Nips. Special Nips. Tweakin' was my AKA.
Oh my god. That's perfection.
My alias.
I feel like I'm gonna learn so much about you that I've always wanted to know. I still have my MySpace too. I hope so. Yeah. Oh god.
Sometimes I'll get up on there and update my top friends.
Thank God.
Thank someone.
Oh, that's incredible. Anyway, Tweakin' Nips. Get at him.
Chat
Actually,
rooms,
don't, because
2003, 2004. Yeah, don't get at me. Please don't get at me whatsoever.
Yeah, connection. Sorry, connection online.
Yeah, but because that was the first time that would ever happen. Like, I met someone online, and then now I'm going on a date with them to see them in person. Like, I don't know, because at that time you were a random stranger.
Yeah.
And it's not like in high school or college where, I've seen you around.
And you kind of, like, know the person.
Yeah, and, like, maybe you've had a class or something, like, they sit on the other side and you stare at them. And
you're, like, into them from afar.
And then you, like, throw a pencil close to them and you go get it, and then you're like, hey, I dropped my pencil way over here.
God, that was one of my moves. I'm glad that you had similar moves.
That's my move.
That's your move? So, that was one of my moves.
Did we go to the same school?
No, I went to an all-girls high school, but, like, college, shut up. But, like, college-wise, so it's, like, definitely one of my moves.
One of my moves.
I like shared, I had a very early class, and I, like, shared a cereal. I would always bring a cereal box with me because I'm psychotic, and I would, like, eat. Yeah, and I would eat it in class, and I would, like, share cereal with this one guy. I'd be like, oh, did you want some cereal? And he'd be like, sure. And I'd be like, cool. And, like, yeah,
would you
that
like
was
milk to go along with that?
Yeah, but that was one of my moves. I had weird moves.
That's a good move. That's a decent move.
Thank you.
My move was to say that I am an expert bath taker.
Oh my god, get wrecked. No, you're not.
So, a little preface. In Erin's Tinder profile, it said that she was an expert bath taker.
Expert taker of baths, and that I, like, love dogs and Zelda, which are all, like, super important things to me.
And all true.
And all true. And he was like, oh, like, I too am an expert taker of baths. And I was like, oh, dope. Like, that's a weird thing that you don't run into every day. That was his opening line. Yeah. And it was a complete lie.
It was not a lie. I've taken many a baths in my day. At least 5.
It's not an expert taker.
It only takes 3 to be an expert.
I guess so. I think, wasn't it? It takes 1,000 hours to become a master. 10,000 hours to become a master.
And 71 minutes.
Anyway.
How do you measure a masterful year?
A masterful year. Yeah, so I don't know.
So yeah, to whoever's listening, if you've met on Tinder and you have crazy stories, you can either A, go to the Tinder subreddit. That's a wonderful place filled with magical stories and harrowing tales of fortune and terror.
Yeah. It's a crazy place. Honestly, it's nuts. And I still feel weird that, like, not weird, but it's just, it's interesting. I mean, like, we were complete strangers 7 months ago.
Yeah. And now we're not.
And now, I mean, I like can't remember a time when like I wouldn't pick up the phone to like text you trivial details in my. I mean, of course I can, but like it just is such a habit to like.
Yeah.
Talk. I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird.
Ethan, my sandal broke. Ethan, I'm lost in the woods. Help!
I was lost in the woods.
That was a great day. But yeah, it's so I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't have a large sample size, but like I don't know how normal it is for people.
I think it's becoming...
Or how people think about Tinder now. Like, I mean, I think older generations probably like, oh, you met online. That's
I just think it's like a perfectly valid way to meet a person. I think that like, and I've had this conversation with my family members.
2017, yeah.
I think it's like a perfectly valid way to meet someone. It's how our generation connects. It's how, I don't think it's weird. It's no different than like me being in a bar, being a perfect stranger and being like, let me get all up on that booty.
Exactly.
And I mean, in so many words.
Let me get up on that booty.
There's no
dab
difference
a little.
Than like approaching a perfect stranger, thinking that they're attractive, and starting a conversation. And I mean, like, it's what we did, you know.
Yeah. And the problem with bars and stuff is, I mean, I guess I would generalize here. I can't really speak for the part of a woman, but I would say they go there for a purpose that's usually not to like hook up or meet someone. Like they're there with their friends. Mm-hmm. I mean, for the most part, I guess I don't know that 100% because I'm a guy. But like they go there for a purpose that's not to get hit on and to get hooked up with someone. Mm-hmm. And so like to me, like a bar type of situation wouldn't be perfect because usually it's loud. Can't hear anyone talking.
It's not ideal, and I don't want to, sort through a whole bunch of weenies who just are like trying to. Weenies. I don't want to sort through a bunch of weenies who are just trying to like hook up with me. I like am very much into like making genuine connections with people, and I don't know. I mean, I guess like the more you know me, the more you would know that I'm like a very emotional person, and I just like. I don't have time to like just like I don't know bullshit around with people. It's not a thing.
I want to get to the point.
Yeah, it's not a thing that I'm into.
See 5 profile pictures, maybe a short bio, something and then like swipe that. Right.
And just like super genuine.
It's like super like that.
Super like that. But we were on. Were we on before super liking? I don't think I had that ability.
I had super liked.
Did you?
Yeah. I don't think I super liked you though.
You sure?
I may have been out. I'll use that excuse. I was out.
You were out, which means you super liked other women. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's weird. I don't think it's necessary to, like, create some pseudo, like, made-up story about where you met. Like, it's fine.
No, yeah.
And I'm not ashamed or embarrassed of where I met you.
There's no point in hiding it. Like...
No. There's, like, so many people, though, that are, like, this is, like, we met here, but we actually say we met. And I'm like, that's so silly. Like, why wouldn't you?
We actually say we met in the dog park.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because most people think it's... Tinder equals Craigslist.
I guess so. And like I think it has some weird...
seeking female.
It had some weird connotations, but I don't know. Yeah. I think there's a whole generation of people, and we're moving into this, like, wave of people who are, like, going to meet, marry, and, like, procreate with people who they met on the internet. And I think that that's, like, where we're not, like, solely moving to, but it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, people spend a lot of time looking at their... respective mobile devices.
Yeah.
So they don't even have time to look up to find someone.
Yeah.
that was sarcastic. I don't know if you could tell that, audience. But yeah, I think we're just living in a day and age where meeting digitally is more common.
Yeah, and there's
more normalized.
There's a really great book that I read a while back. It's probably been like over a year now, but Aziz Ansari paired with like a bunch of like sociologists and
was
like
it Modern Romance?
Yeah, a bunch of like doctors, and like did a bunch of just like really interesting polls, and like did like cross samples of like different cultures and a whole bunch of stuff, and just like talked about how people meet and age gaps and like how it's changing and where we're moving forward to. So Modern Romance. Shout out to Aziz Ansari. Super great.
Love you.
Love you. Actually, we love you. We watch.
Aziz, please come on the show.
We watch many
Episode
things.
2 featuring Aziz Ansari.
Don't say that.
Hey, it might work.
It might. Truly.
It might.
That would be beautiful. But yeah, so yeah, I don't think it's weird. I don't think it's weird at all.
No. Because I mean, yeah, like I said, I thought it was weird, or at least a little bit weird at first.
Yeah.
But it's just something that it's just so normal now.
Yeah.
That I don't even think twice about it.
Yeah, thinking
that it's weird.
I can probably name off the top of my head 5 people who met and are now married to people who they.
I can name a few. Yeah.
Yeah, like off the top of my head, I
Right
can think of 5.
podcast.
I'm not going to, obviously,
Yeah,
but
just dish out names.
Just so and so.
Middle names, social numbers, all of it.
I want all their information. Yeah, it's just like it's so commonplace, and whatever.
So that's the story of how we met.
It's a little more complicated than that.
No, those were all the details, definitely. It's been a fairy tale ever since. This is the 7-month fairy tale.
Is it?
It ends right now.
Stop it.
On this podcast.
Stop it.
Yeah, JK.
You just abbreviated.
Abbreviation.
Abbreviation.
I'm learning from you.
Truly.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Really.
Probably not good.
Probably not good. And so now we can transition into the tried and true tests of, what was his name? Gary Chapman?
Chapman something.
That's such a doctor name.
It is.
But if you recognize the name, I don't know if you pay attention to names, the 5 love languages.
Yeah, and we thought that'd be a good place to kind of like start off. I guess to like get a better understanding of like who we are as individuals and how we interact as a couple. And just kind of like the importance, I would say, of understanding who you are and like who your partner is. Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that's what can make a better relationship.
Yeah.
Not only knowing yourself and knowing what you want or need or desire, whatever you want to say, but also recognizing what your partner wants.
Yeah, and I think that the love languages just kind of apply to relationships across the board. Like, you can use this and apply this to like friendships and parental relationships, and I mean, like, obviously it's a little more intimate, I would say. I hate that word. It's gross.
Intimacy.
But it's a little more intimate when you have like a partner. But I think that like these things can span all types of relationships, and this is just one that we're evaluating.
Right. And,
yeah.
And at least for me, I mean, I think because there are what, 5 categories?
5, yeah. So I guess we can just name them, and then we can talk about how we ranked up. Okay. We might have had technical difficulties, but we fixed it.
Maybe.
Anyway, so I guess we should just name the 5 and then talk about how we pair up to those things, or how we relate to those. So there's physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, and then acts of service.
Yes.
I guess we can like break down what those mean, not to us, but just in general.
Just in general.
So
general definitions.
Physical touch would like obviously not only mean like intimacy, like in that sense, but also just like the physical act of like how important it is to have your partner like physically touch you.
Right, like it could be as simple as them touching you on the shoulder, or like
it's not always like super sexual. It's just like
it's not always sexual. It's like giving you a back rub when you're just randomly sitting down, or like maybe you're out,
or even just like holding hands.
Yeah, maybe you're outside and like someone, or like your partner just walks up to you and randomly holds your hand.
Yeah. So it's so great.
So like the literal physical act of touching.
Yeah. So like the next guy would be words of affirmation. So that's obviously what it sounds like. physically hearing like, I love you, you're this to me, I like when you do XYZ. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just reminders of how you make the other person feel. Right. And
praising your partner.
Praising yourself.
I stole that from the test.
Did you?
Credit to the test.
I guess we could pull up what the test says. That'd be smarter. More intelligent.
But yeah, giving recognition to your partner and saying, yeah, I'm proud of you. You did a really good job on this. Mm-hmm. I think you're great.
Yes.
Such a good person.
Kind, encouraging, and positive words are truly life-giving. I'm pulling this directly from the text. And then quality time.
Credit where credit's due.
These are not my words. So quality time is just like the physical act of spending that time with your partner. I would say, like, you don't necessarily need to be doing anything, but sometimes it's like going out, having excursions, adventures, activities. But it can even be as simple as like staying at home, like cooking dinner together, sitting, watching Netflix, doing whatever people do. The text says something probably more beautiful than I could ever say.
Well, they had a lot more time to foster that.
They paragraph. Did. So like full undivided attention, being there is what it says, like, is really important for people who like this. Receiving gifts is like very low for both of us.
Yeah.
And it talks about like not mistaking this, as direct quotes, for like materialism. Like, all this is like, oh, I'm a consumer and I need products.
I want presents every day in my life.
It just talks about how like you feel special when your partner goes out of their way to like pick you up something, and like, I brought you a Reese's bar from the store the other day, but that's not to me. That's just, and I
loved it. It was a Reese's Nutrageous.
Yeah.
And it was indeed Nutrageous.
We love Reese's.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, I remember her saying she needed gum. I can buy some gum right now.
Or like when you bought me that candle, like that was really sweet, but like, that wasn't like, oh, he really loves me, bought me a candle. Like, it's just
like she gave me a list of candles to buy her.
Yeah, he was just like out, and he was like, oh, like Erin loves lavender, I'm gonna pick her that up. And I was like emotional about it because I get emotional about everything, but like it wasn't like that to me isn't as important as some of the other things we'll talk about later. And then what is it? Acts of service, and that's anything from like, I translate this as like, oh, like he did the dishes, or they swept the floor so I didn't have to, or like they noticed that this was empty and they refilled it, or whatever. It's just like doing.
Yeah, because I took that as, oh, like she's super busy. I can clean this room of the apartment or something, or I know she has a lot on her plate, so I'll take care of this. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Or like the other day I left and I like made your bed, and I was just like, oh, I
noticed that. That was great.
I was just like, oh, I'm not going to leave this a hot mess
where
because
it is now.
Yeah, it's a hot, but I was like, I'm not going to leave this a hot mess because like that's probably a nice thing, but it's not like high up on my list of things to do. So yes, those are them. That was a cluster of probably
definitions and words and phrases.
And definitions. But yeah, so we took the test, and I've taken the test before, and you also have?
I have, yeah.
And I think that this is...
So this was my third time taking it.
Yeah, I've taken it probably twice. This is probably my second time taking it. I don't know. And I think that, like, these things can change. I think that, like, when... I would argue that, like, at some point it kind of remains tried and true, and, like, I think at certain points of your life, like, different numbers might be higher and different things might change, but... I would say this is a pretty accurate picture of who we both are in this relationship to each other.
I would say so. Yeah. Because mine...
Did yours change at all? I'm curious.
So when I first took it, took the test, it resembles a lot like this like test we just took.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I first took it, it was...
How old were you when you first took it? I'm just curious.
It
was like a college thing?
If I was in college, it would have been beginning of college, end of high school.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think when this was first made, or like got around a little bit. Watch, it was made in the 70s. I'm not that old. So this past test, I scored 11 on physical touch, and 9 on quality time. And so I'll just use those two for right now. Because when I first took it way back when, I think those were the same scores.
Oh, yeah?
For physical touch and quality time. One was 11. Physical touch was 11. Quality time was 9.
Yeah.
I think they were the exact same thing. And then I took it again maybe 3 or 4 years later, and they had switched. Except quality time was at 10, and
you have very good memory.
Physical touch was at 9. I mean, I might be making these numbers up there, but they switched.
Yeah.
And so and then now it's been 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And I think now that it's back to physical touch.
It can very much like portray where you're at in your life now, and like different circumstances, different people in your life could change the numbers, whatever. Mine changed a little bit. I probably took it at the beginning of college. I'm a little bit younger than Ethan, fun fact. But I took it at the beginning of college, probably like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
4? Yeah, just about.
I don't know why I'm saying like I knew.
No, because about 4 years ago. So yeah, and I had 3 ties. So things have changed for me. And I would say that like as I've gotten older and like been in more adult relationships and not so much just like high school, college, like not that college relationships aren't valid. I don't mean that, but I just think that there's definitely a transition between like being in some kinds of relationships and then being in I would regard this is an adult relationship.
I would say so.
Yeah, I think that there's a difference.
I have my own cat. This is an adult relationship.
We have a cat.
We have our own cat, okay?
No, this is an adult. Yes. Yeah. So, I think there's a difference in kind of like your needs and wants in those type of relationships versus an adult relationship. But I don't mean to discredit any relationships that aren't in college, because like those can also be adult relationships.
Because they're fine too. Yeah,
those can also be adult. Yeah. I just didn't really experience those type of relationships when I was in that sphere because it's not where I was at. So yeah, I guess we can just break down our scores, what we got.
Sure.
So do you want to do it by like what we both got on physical, what we both got? Well, I guess they're gonna change. Whatever. So, for myself, I did a 9 physical, and you.
I had an 11 on physical.
So that's both of our first is physical, which I think is interesting, but not surprising.
Right.
Because we both are pretty affectionate, like with each other.
Yeah, because my main thing with the physical touch is I really like, when you come up and hold my hand, or like you rub my shoulders, or like you just give me a backwards hug.
Right. And those things are like not even, they're just second nature. Like I don't think about them because that's how I show, that's my big one, and that's how I show affection. But it can also be annoying after certain times of the day.
After 10 p.m.
It can be annoying, but I mean, like, that's how I show affection. And so, like, for someone who maybe isn't ranked high on physical affection, like if I was dating not you, which is weird to say, but like if I was dating someone else and they were ranked really low on physical affection, like that can be too much, I would say.
Yeah.
But we're equally matched in that, like, we both super like it. And like we are very physically affectionate with each other, but not in like a gross, like super sexual way. It's not. It's just kind of like and gentle.
Yeah, it's kind of like the little things.
Like I'm surprised I'm not like holding your hand right. I always like it's just
She just touched me.
But yeah, so that's the highest one for us. So 9 and 11, that makes sense. And then we differ from here out. So for my second one, I have a 9 at words of affirmation. So physical touch and words of affirmation are equally as important to me. And words of affirmation is your 4th, like on the list.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's, I mean, because you'll say to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like literally all the time. Like, oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Or like,
just dumb stuff.
I like you so much.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, it's not like I don't appreciate those things. It's just those aren't the things that do it for me.
Yeah. And so I literally all the time, I'll be like, oh, you're so handsome. Like, you're just so handsome. And like, that is a way that I show love, but it's not how you receive love. And I was getting into this a little bit earlier with like, that's why I think it's important to know your partner. So like, that's not how he receives love, but that's how I does. So like when he says like, oh, you're, I don't know, whatever, words of affirmation to me, then I feel it. And that's important to me. Whereas like, it doesn't mean much. Not that it doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean much.
It's not that it doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It is a 5, by the way.
It is a 5. It's important, but like
it's up there.
Yeah, no, words of affirmation. Like honestly, I will never get tired of having someone just be like, oh, like I like spending time with you, and I like that, and blah blah. Because like it's just I don't know. I will never get tired of it. But also it's exhausting.
Because like you were saying, this is where it's important or like helpful with this test, you can say like, oh, now I know what my partner wants, or like how they receive things. And so like I could look at your list.
That's eye-opening to you, maybe.
Yeah. And because like I can know my list and be like, yeah, that's what I want, so what. But now I can look at yours and be like, oh, physical touch is on top, words of affirmation is next.
Yeah.
Like I could focus on those top two.
I'm equally ranked on those things.
I could focus on both of those things.
Yeah.
And like try and improve or like increase how much like I randomly hold your hand, or like give you words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
And I think that's important because I think so often we're used to giving love the way that we want to receive love. And when that's not in line with what your partner wants or needs, then like we get confused. And I think that's where like
sometimes it can create like a breakdown.
Tensions. Yeah. And I think that like if people took time to, I mean, obviously this isn't like the end all be all, but if you took time to like sit and say like, like we've been kind of disconnected recently, like are we not spending enough time together? Have I not, you know, like physically been around and like hugged and held my partner? Have I not told them how much they mean to me? Like you can kind of get a breakdown of like, oh, maybe they need this, let's give that a shot, instead of being like, it's fucked, we're done, you know, like
we're done, because I feel they don't like me anymore.
I feel like so often like that's it doesn't take much to like end a relationship.
Yeah, because I mean the communication can break down, and then it just stays broken down until one of them or both of them just calls it quits.
Yeah, and I think that like communication is so much more than just being like, hi, how was your day? Good, mine too. Awesome. Communication is so it's in that gray area between like what's said and unsaid, and understanding like the needs of your partner before, sometimes even before they do, you know, like when you really know someone. And I mean, like, we haven't been together for massive amounts of time, so like I can only imagine this like growing and getting to be, but like coming home from a long day and knowing that your partner's probably going to need X, Y, and Z,
right?
That kind of thing, like knowing their needs and kind of anticipating their needs before they've even presented, like, because I'll just walk in sometimes to your house and I'll just like exhale and I'll just like hug you because that's the kind of day I've had, and you just kind of, okay, you just hug me, yes, I know, like, so, sometimes
but see, I like that because physical touch is my number one.
It's your number one. But so that's interesting. So words of affirmation, important to me, not important to you. Not as important.
Not at all. I just don't like them.
No, but like not as important. And then for me, quality time is next as a 7.
Yes.
But quality time is your second.
Yes.
Yeah.
At a 9.
And
so for me, like, I really like traveling around, and I'm not talking like backpacking Europe or like going to Malaysia or something.
I wouldn't be mad at backpacking.
I don't know why I picked. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at backpacking Europe. But like going to someplace an hour away, or
we take so many trips. We really do.
Like, just like little trips, like because we live in Maryland, and it's like there are places in Virginia we can go, or Pennsylvania.
We're lucky to have like a lot of surrounding areas.
Like we just got back from Philly.
Yeah.
But because these places are just kind of like close to
super
us, like
accessible,
within 4 hours of us. But I like going on little day trips or weekend trips.
Yeah. We hike a lot, and we kind of go places, and I mean, it doesn't hurt that we have similar interests, and like to do those things together. But
because that's the kind of quality time that I like.
Yeah.
Just like going with you to places, even if it was a cornfield in Indiana, or like a historic courthouse in Philadelphia. So and then I don't know what quality time.
I mean,
or what you define as quality time.
Yeah, and it's even so much as like quality time to me. As much as I love those trips, and as much as those are really, really fun, and I have so many memories and like good emotions about them, quality time to me is also just like sitting and watching Netflix. I love like cooking with you too. Like I mean, we're not like fancy. We had like fucking grilled cheese last night, but like
we made the best grilled cheese.
It was pretty good. It was that generic shit. It was good. But like those things are nice too, because I, for as much as I do talk, and like you'll probably notice that I talk more than I should, yes, but for as much as I do talk, I do like those kind of mundane things too. Like, and I don't feel like I always have to fill the silence with you. And there's so many people that like I do feel that way with, where I'm like, I have to.
Yeah. That's one good thing about this relationship. Yeah. Of the several, is that. What are you talking about? Is that like we could just sit and like not do anything and kind of just be content and with each other.
I don't necessarily feel like I always need to occupy conversation with you, and it's like a burden that I feel in so many areas of my life that like I don't feel that.
I mean, as an introvert, that's paradise to me.
Yeah.
Specifically.
And I'm an extrovert, in case you didn't pick up on that.
No.
So
this is news to me.
Yeah, and I mean even because we drove home from Indiana a month ago, whatever.
A month ago.
And that's a long ass car ride, and like there were times when we were chatting and engaged in like really nice, meaningful conversation, and then there were times when we were just comfortable.
When you fell asleep and I listened to a podcast.
Yeah, or like I was reading a magazine and we were just comfortable in that silence. But that's the biggest, like, comfortable can so often mean bad, I think, in relationships, that like you get comfortable and you stop trying.
So like content kind of thing.
Yeah, but I feel comfortable in a different way with you. I feel like all of the extraness as that I am as a person, like I can kind of shed that when I'm with you, and I can just kind of be, you know, like I can just be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like you were saying the other day, content versus complacent.
Yeah.
Complacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a difference between being content and being complacent, and like I am choosing to be content with where I'm at and not like thinking about all the things that I could be, which I think is different to me than being complacent and just being like, I'm okay, like if I stayed here forever, because like,
or like this is a relationship that like, yeah, you can do, like, it's okay, and so like you're complacent in that like you're just kind of dealing with it.
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't want to speak for you, but like I'm not feeling complacent at all. Like I feel content and happy with where we are, but I also like, and I don't mean this in like a weird pressure way, but like I'm also like not even questioning the fact that like we're gonna grow in this relationship. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a lot of pressure.
Shut up.
But yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm like it. I don't even have to question like is there a next, like what are we gonna, like it's just not a problem. Like it. I don't overanalyze, and I'm very good at overanalyzing.
That's very true.
Yeah. I freak out about dumb shit, as I say.
Overanalyze your overanalyses.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Into some mega overanalysis.
But I don't have that with this relationship. It's not like a thing. On the things that I worry about, it's very low on this totem pole, but not in like a shitty way. Like I don't pay this relationship attention. It's just like not something that I'm like, oh my God, like what is my relationship going to turn out to be? Yeah. And like what? Like
it's just not like a huge worry like it might be for other people.
Yeah. It's just like, I feel, and that's just so much on you. Like you make me feel safe and secure in a relationship. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Would you catch a grenade for me?
I would catch a grenade for you.
Is that a yes?
Sure, yeah.
Nice.
Would you catch one for me? No. No.
Depends on the grenade.
What is the next line to that song?
I would
go through all this pain, take a bullet straight to my brain.
I would get that stain out for you.
All right, that's not how it goes.
I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. Okay. I don't know. I don't question and like freak out about this relationship. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not something I do. I just know that for as crazy as I am, you're there. So like that's
You're present.
You're there. Well, I mean, you're there, and like for me in so many ways that like it's not an easy task, but you are. So yeah.
Aaron, quote of the year.
Yeah. What's next? So quality time. Receiving gifts was 4th on my list. Very low. I had a 3 in that.
I got a literal 0.
Yeah, didn't even place.
Did not even place.
It's just not important to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I took this test as a 5-year-old, receiving gifts would be.
I don't know. I think that's how some people show. I mean, I've dated people who show their affection by giving gifts before, and like it's not that it's not appreciated. It's just like not.
Yeah, because I mean, I do. Because that's the one weird thing with this test, I guess, is it might not show what you like to give out.
Yeah.
So like, or like, at least in terms of gifts, like I like giving gifts to you.
Yeah.
I don't more or less like receiving them. Like,
right.
I mean, I like receiving them, don't get me wrong, but it's just not a high priority for me to have gifts from you. But like, I love giving you stuff.
Yeah.
Though. Because, like, if that was somehow into this test, I'm sure that would score high. If it was, like, giving gifts.
Yeah. But I think that you, and once again, I don't speak for you, but, like, I think that, like, that's probably because, like, you know how emotional I am. And, like, I get over-emotional about things. Like, even if it's just silly stuff, it's just, it's
I think I secretly like it when you get overly emotional about things. So I buy you candles and other random things.
It's emotional. It's just like, I don't know. I get emotional over dumb things.
You're going to come to the apartment one day. I'm just going to have a pug, like, waiting for
don't even say that, because I will vomit up all of these tears that I've been holding back.
Pug happiness.
I don't even say that. Don't
even get that idea in my head.
Don't. Because anytime you're like, oh, I have something, it's a pug. He's got a pug. It's a pug. He's got a pug.
It's gotta be a pug. It wasn't a pug.
It's never been a pug.
It's never been a pug.
Although, you can get me a pug and I won't be upset
about it. I could. Only $1,300.
I wouldn't be upset about it.
Probably not.
I wouldn't. Anyway.
I don't know if I would name my pug Zelda, though.
No, but Percy.
Percy the pug.
It's
yeah, that's a good name.
It's a good name.
That's a good name. Percy Jackson the lightning pug.
That's, oh my god.
Overly emotional?
No.
Podcast done. Too much emotion. Too much pug.
Acts of service is my 5th one. At 2. I can't even talk. Is at 2. And acts of service is actually your 3rd at 5. Well, you tied with words of affirmation and acts of service.
Oh, I did. That's right.
You did, yeah. But acts of service is my low one. I don't know. It doesn't, to be honest, like, all of these things mean something to me when you do them. It's not that, like, they don't. It's just, like, I have ones that obviously rank higher.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you...
It's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, if you were to, like, I don't know, just switch out my laundry, then, like, yay, thank you. But, like,
great.
It's not whatever. It's not whatever. Also, I guess to clarify, like, we do not live with each other, which is why I guess that's probably not big. I would say, like, for married couples and probably for couples that live together, that's probably a big one, I would imagine. And, like, if we ever...
Yeah, because I think, if you live together, then you share responsibilities with things. And so you're probably more likely to do other things, or to do things for each other.
Yeah, and so I'd be interested, I think, like, down the line, if we ever did live together and we took this test, like, to see how that changes. Because I'm sure that, like, me doing the dishes and me, you know, doing whatever, cleaning the bathroom, and then you'd probably appreciate that more than you do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think for us right now, it's mostly, hey, I'm coming over. Do you want anything?
Yeah, do you need anything? Yeah. Which I literally just had that conversation with you. Like,
we did. Yeah.
Or, like, you stop at Wawa frequently on the way to my house, and, like, you... more often than not, like, bring me my favorite green tea, and, like, that's sweet, and, like, that's nice, but, you know, we don't live together. It's not, like, a constant. I think that your agenda, and, like, not agenda, but, like, things that you appreciate more might switch and flop as you, like, actually move in with each other, and you actually have to, like, live your day with another
like, when
human.
responsibilities are shared.
Yeah.
When you see each other a lot more. Yeah.
And, I mean, we see each other a lot, I would say.
Yeah.
That's a weird screensaver. Do you see that?
Yeah, it's the thing for it.
That's weird. Anyway.
So to the people at home, we are recording right in front of my MacBook. But I participate in a program called SETI at Home. It's where you volunteer your computer to decode data or transfer data from SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. But yeah, when you leave it on long enough, like, a screensaver comes up, and it looks like an awesome graph.
We really like space and also aliens. As just a segue about our relationship, full disclosure, we have to record this end part because some shit got wild, and so...
Shit got seriously wild.
So we are redoing...
So much quality time, so many words of affirmation.
I don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of our first crack at this podcast. I think it was successful. We talked about this a little bit at the end of the last first recording that we did.
The lost tapes.
The lost tapes. I wish.
Yeah, so we talked about Tinder and how we met and how it should be normal now to meet online and not feel weird
just
about
kind of
it.
like normalizing that whole thing.
And then the love languages.
And I want to bring this helpful. Up because in the last recording,
the lost tapes,
I was talking about how like I feel like I'm looking forward to doing this because I think that it's going to like kind of just like help us learn more about each other in this relationship, and like not that it's like a short one or like a tremendously long one. It's just kind of like a relationship,
right? Yeah. And so hopefully, as future episodes grow, we grow as a couple.
Okay.
The poetry writes me.
Truly. But yeah, so I'm just looking forward to that. I think that's going to be exciting to even like have these to listen back on and like hear, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was the first episode of No.
You.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.